Hi all, PlantSide Agent here. Today we're going to compare boil times between indoors and outdoors in cold rainy conditions using the Trangia mini cook set. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Okay, let's get started. On my video that I showed my cook kit setup for this Trangia mini, I got a comment asking how it's going to perform out in the cold wet, which I did all my tests indoors, and I thought, well, that's a pretty good comparison. And it's been a while since that video came out. And by the way, I'll put a link to that video or all the mini videos. Also, I have a playlist of all my cook set and stove videos if you want to go chase those down. But anyway, I thought that was an idea worth trying, but at the time it was a little warm and dry, so I've been hanging around waiting for winter to start setting in, and it's a cold, wet day. It's about 45 degrees outside and light rain, so I figure that's as good a day as any to test cold and wet conditions. For inside, I thought I was just going to do it here in the garage, but it's winter in the garage and it's 55 degrees, and I'm not really sure what the humidity is. So I thought, I'm just going to go ahead and take this inside to the house where it'll be more summer-like conditions, humidity and temperature-wise, and do the boil test there. So we'll have a wider range of boil tests to see how this setup performs in both conditions. So I'm going to go ahead and move all this mess inside and set up for a boil test on the kitchen stove. Before I finish setting up indoors, what I'm going to do is leave the water out here at 55 degrees, and I'll use the same water, 55 degree water, for the outside burn and the inside, so at least that part will be equal since it's 70 degrees in the house right now. So I'll get all this all set up, bring the water at the last minute, so I try to keep things as equal as possible. Okay, I'm all set up except for the pot of water. I'm going to run out to the garage and grab that, so we'll keep it as close to 55 as possible. All right, looks like the water's still hanging in there at 55. Go ahead and light the stove. Voila. I'll give it a few seconds to bloom. These Trangias bloom very quickly, very nicely. Okay, I think that looks good. We'll go ahead and put this on, hit the timer, and now we'll stand around and wait for the boil. Oh, by the way, I did say inside temperature is 70 degrees and 47% humidity. Okay, getting close. 2:07 and 9 minutes. Should be ready to go here any sec. I hear it boiling in there. Okay, 9 minutes and 10 seconds. Let me shut the burner down so I can go out when it cools off and measure how much fuel was used. So there we go. It's out. So I'm going to go ahead and break all this down and start preparing to set up for the outside burn. So we'll get back to you. Okay, I'm all set up for the outside burn. It's 45 degrees out here, light rain, calm winds, so it's cold and wet. I've got 16 ounces, in this case 54 degree water, and I did measure the fuel in the Trangia. So let's go ahead and fire this off and see how long it takes outside. There it goes. Give it a second here to kind of bloom. Might take a little longer since it's cold out here, 45. Oops, well, I'll do the timer once it blooms. Of course, we will have to account for the fuel consumption, which is going to be meager. Okay, looks like it's about ready to bloom. There we go. Perfect. Love these little stoves. Okay, we'll put that on, put the lid on, hit the button, and we'll wait. Even though the wind is calm, I did bring out a windscreen, and I'm going to go ahead and set it up anyway. because when I do outdoor burns, I always use a windscreen, just because it also helps with the retains a little bit of the heat, so it improves the performance. So let's see if we can get this set up without me messing up the whole test. So we'll go ahead and do this. There we go. Whoops. I think that'll work. What little breeze does blow through isn't going to mess with the flame, and it should keep the heat in a little bit better and get better performance. I've noticed that. I noticed that years and years ago on my old Bleuet isobutane stove. First time I tried to use it without a windscreen, it just never did boil. After that, I used it even in winter time with a foil windscreen around it, and it kind of kept the heat in, so it improved the performance on the butane propane, and been using windscreens ever since. Well, if you're interested, I do have a video on my old Bleuet cook setup, so I'll put a link to that video if you're interested. Well, one thing about these pressure type alcohol burners like the Trangia is that they're a little slow to get started when it's cold out. I know isopropane, that fires off, gets going pretty quick. Same with white gas stoves, but these guys take a little bit of time to heat up. Sometimes probably better to prime them by adding a little alcohol around them to burn on the outside to heat up the tank, so that they perform a little better. It's just kind of trickling along right there, but probably as it gets closer to a boil, it'll probably really take off. Although we're about halfway there in about 4 3/4 minutes. So anyway, I'll shut this down and we'll wait for the boil. All right, getting close. 2:05 in 10 minutes and 8-9 seconds. So should be coming to a boil. As I said in my other video, I shoot for the 211 since that seems to work better for temperature. And there we go. So we'll say 10 minutes and 21 seconds. So not bad at all. That's pretty much what oftentimes you get on an inside. Better shut all this down here real quick so I can weigh the fuel. Next, I got to get at the. I put this somewhere. There, it's off. Okay, go ahead and put this back on here. Just get out of the way. And I'm going to break all this down and set up back inside, and I'll go ahead and summarize the two tests. Okay, back in the garage and got everything all cleaned up and everything set up. So I'm going to go ahead and summarize the test between the indoors and the outdoors. Okay, for starters, the indoor, we started at 70 degrees, 47% humidity, and we had 16 ounces of water at 55 degrees, and it took 9 minutes and 10 seconds to boil, and that was with 19 grams of fuel. Now the outside burn test was, the outside temperature was 46 degrees, 97% humidity. Again, the water was 16 ounces at 55 degrees. It took 10 minutes and 21 seconds to boil, and it used 22 grams of fuel. So the differences between indoors and outdoors, really not. I would say, and it's been proven. I've watched this one guy from Sweden. He was always using his Trangias for boiling or making coffee out in the outdoors in the wintertime in the snow. Did it all the time, so it evidently wasn't a problem with cold weather performance. Just a side note, for very cold weather, you can buy a cold weather attachment, or you can probably make your own, where it just boils. You burn off a little alcohol underneath the burner so that it warms it up, so it gets going a little bit quicker. That's for very cold weather. So the difference, at least between like a cool summer day around here, or spring day of 70 degrees, and a winter day at 46 degrees, not a lot of difference in burn times. You're talking 9:10 versus 10:21, so that's about a minute minute and 10 seconds. So no real difference, at least in these two temperature extremes. So the question was, how does it perform in the cold and the wet? Pretty much the same. So Go ahead and use your Trangias however you want. They're good little stoves. I have no complaints with them. Can't really think of anything else to say right now, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.